Okay, Linda, we talked in the first part there about what everybody knows you as the racehorse trainers,
Yeah.
but the other part of your business, which probably I don't know what sort of percentage of it is buying and breeding racehorses.
Yeah. We have 5 broodmares here, and predominantly we breed foals to sell as foals. Um, although the first foal that we actually bred here, we then trained was a mare called Poet's Reflection. She won for us for David Cox. Um, but predominantly we will be selling them as foals. So we'd be covering the mare, and 11 months later, hopefully we get a nice colt foal, and then we'd be producing that foal to either go to Doncaster sales or go to Tattersalls Ireland. And yeah, would be walking the foal for 6 weeks before the sales, and producing them for the sales in as good as condition as we can.
So does the stallion come to your mare? Is it all done here, or do the mares go off to the?
No, we take the mares. We use Yorton stud quite a lot, but we take the mares off to the stud to be covered. So you may have the vet in here 8 o'clock in the morning scanning a mare, and you may have a 1 o'clock cover in Shropshire at Yorton. So it's all a bit a bit of a rush.
Yeah.
But yeah, we rarely send the mares away unless some of the mares go to Ireland to stud. But most of them are covered locally.
So how does that work? If your mare doesn't get pregnant, do you still have to pay?
No, you get a free return. So obviously, your mare may not get info the first time, but you can go back. You wouldn't want to be getting a foal later than the end of May, really, because if it's a commercial foal, it's not going to be forward enough. So you would 11 months before that, you need to be covering, and you would recover if the mare wasn't in foal, and it's no foal, no fee. So if for any reason when you scan the 1st of October to pay the stud fee, then if the mare wasn't in foal, you either get a free return or you don't pay the stud fee.
Okay, so the other part is buying. You go into the sales. You buy horses, or you take them to sales to sell them mainly.
We sell the foals, so we produce foals to sell them as foals. We've actually been quite successful at that, and so a few quite well, which is something that Mike and I can do together, because it's not that onerous as in looking after them, and we've got 100 acres here, so we can make use of the land. But we also buy all our own national hunt horses and pointers. We don't use an agent. We would do all the groundwork ourselves. We'd be sitting nights looking at catalogues and pedigrees and things like that. We've spent a lot of time in Ireland. We've built up a good relationship with a friend in Ireland, Dennis Hayes, and we'd go across sometimes, and he'd take us around field full of horses. We may see 100 horses in a day. So we're seeing them then, I think, in their work clothes. We're not actually seeing them all prepped for the sale and looking posh. So you see a lot about a horse just in its natural environment and just being the way it is. I prefer to buy a horse like that, really. So yeah, most of the horses that we have trained over the years have been horses that we've bought ourselves, produced ourselves, so as in broken them in ourselves, and then started them in bumpers and over hurdles or whatever, points, whichever way they're going, really.
Okay, so does Linda and Mike have a type? Are you looking? Is it something that you sort of generally spot?
Yeah, you should always look at the individual horse. You should always first look at the animal. You need an athlete, something that moves well. And one thing I've got a real thing about is the conformation. I do like the conformation to be as correct as possible, because I'm always thinking if you've got an animal that's as correct as possible when it starts, then it's least likely to get an injury. Obviously, we're putting a lot of pressure on them when we're getting them fit to run in races. So if you've got a good strong athlete to start with, then you're more likely to end up with a racehorse. So I'd say the first thing we'd look for is an athlete that moves well, good conformation, good walk, head up in place, and then secondly you look at the pedigree. So you know, if you want a 2 mile horse, you want a quicker pedigree than a 3 mile horse. So, but look at the animal first.
Okay, and do you and Mike agree when you see?
Pretty much, yes, we do actually. Yeah, we do. Yeah, Mike's very good actually at picking out the young horses at the sales. He has a good eye for a horse. Very good. Yeah.
And what is there something that most people in your business wouldn't see as a negative that you see as a negative? So if you see that in a horse, you think straight away, put a line through it.
I think a lot of people look aside the conformation of the horse. I would like a correct horse, whereas a lot of agents and trainers may look, you know, not look at that.
So what sort of age would these ones be that you're looking at?
Normally we'd be buying 3-year-olds to produce, to then possibly run in start off in their bumpers. We'd like to run them in a bumper, even if they weren't really a bumper horse. It would give them a little bit of education. Depends on the individual, if they're jumping really well, and we'd still be schooling them over hurdles and get them going for hurdles, but we probably would start them in a bumper or in a point to point, just to give them the good grinding. But yeah, basically 3-year-olds. I like to buy a 3-year-old and produce it myself, rather than be going to the sales and buy somebody else's problem that's already had a problem.
Yeah. So do you go over there with a price in mind, or do you maybe go a bit above your normal budget if you see something special?
We'd normally go with an order. If we had an order, we would go to Ireland. But normally when we're there, we buy one anyway. So it's so yeah, normally to order really.
That was my next question. Do you buy to order, or do you take a gamble and to trade one? You know, to sort of buy one and sell it on.
Okay, yeah. I mean, quite often when we've been across, we may be going to buy one for an owner, and then we see a nice horse we like, and then we would have a go at it ourselves, and then produce it, and then, you know, try to sell it to an owner in the yard. And the occasional one we have run ourselves as well. So. You know, some of them, they're all different. They all one might need a little bit of time, so you wouldn't really want to be letting an owner take it on. So we might produce it for a season and then let an owner take it on.
So would you literally go over there with an empty horse box and come back with a full one?
That's quite often the thing in Ireland. Yes. No, we normally go with an order, really, to be honest.
Okay, just going back, I'm interested about the yearlings that you said. Do you follow their careers once you sold them?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. We you can do a thing through Weatherby's where you can trace the foal going forward. So yeah, it's actually quite interesting. We went across. We sold a foal in Tatars, Ireland, and it was sold to Mount Brown, and they produced it. And it came back in the Derby sale, which we were really excited about, because the Derby sale would be the best pedigrees. It came back into the Derby sale, and it was bought by Highflyer, who are the leading bloodstock agents for Oliver Sherwood. So it's gone into training with Oliver Sherwood. So that's really exciting from the mare's point of view, because Oliver's obviously going to do a great job with it, and you know, it'll help the next ones that we sell. So yeah, we definitely follow them all. It's great. Yeah, it's a great buzz to. I mean, obviously, I'm very hands on, and I do the leading at the sales on my own. And I'd say it's the biggest adrenaline rush leading a foal through the sales when it's, you know, when it's just going to be sold, when the hammer's just going to go down. It's nearly as good as riding in a race.
Right, now you read about horses in a point to put in Ireland winning a race and then being sold for 100 grand, that sort of thing. I'm assuming you're not spending that sort of money. So is it still possible to, after like a few hundred years of breeding these horses,
Yeah.
to find something that could end up at Cheltenham at a budget price? Is that dream actually a reality when you go?
I think more so that you would buy a horse out of a field. I think you would, if you're buying a horse at a sale, you're competing with everybody. You're buying a horse out of a field, then I think you're more likely to, you're going down and seeing a bunch of horses, and one takes your eye. I think you'd be more likely to find one like that, really.
Okay, now you talked about goals and stuff earlier, and you talk about the individual horses.
Yeah.
What's your immediate goal for the yard going forward into the new season?
Well, I have goals. I've ridden a Cheltenham winner. I'd love to train a Cheltenham winner. That would be my main goal. I've always said I love hunting. I'd like to hunt with every pack in the country. I'm halfway through that. And obviously the breeding side, I'd love to maybe top the Derby sale one day with one of the foals, or top the foal sale. That would be some ambitions I would have.
Is it a bit frustrating that a lot of the horses that come to you are of a certain quality? Is it frustrating that somebody's not going to come to you with a really, really good one that you could show the world what you can do?
Yes, but it's, at the end of the day, it's a great achievement when you bring a horse on, you break it in, you buy it, you break it in, and then you beat the big boys. It's a great achievement. So I'd say, obviously, you're only as good as the horses you train, but they are beatable.
Okay, so finally, someone's watching this.
Yep.
And they've already got horses, or they're thinking about getting a horse, and they're looking for a trainer. What would you say to them to persuade them to send their horse to you?
We have a lovely facility here. We provide individual attention. We have time for the horses, and owners are welcome here at any time. They don't have to ring us, and we'd like to think that we treat the horses as part of the family, and we treat the owner as part of the family, and we can be as good as the others given the opportunity.
Okay, so that's Linda Blackford at Short Lane Stables, Rackenford. Linda, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.